Hey everybody, Dante from Opus here, and in today's edition of Dante's Information Download, we're going to be introducing to you Apollo.io. I'm joined by my friend Josh Garrison. He's the head of content marketing and a self-proclaimed recovering sales leader. And jumping into it, what Apollo.io is it a way for you to supercharge your sales process? It's a comprehensive platform. It does targeted outreach. It does intelligent automation. It does data enrichment. It does analytics and insights. It also does seamless integration with other types of CRMs and other types of marketing outbound efforts like a HubSpot, etc. So the cool thing about this is when you supercharge your sales with Apollo.io, it's a comprehensive platform designed to turbocharge your sales efforts with powerful tools and features. They empower your team to bring new heights to their sales pipeline, right? Everything's all about how many dollars can we get in the door? How many more customers can we engage with? They've got a robust database with millions of people in it. It's got integrations to other types of if you don't want to use the sequencing, it's got integrations to other types of CRMs, etc. And it also has data enrichment. So you're surfing around on LinkedIn, you can find somebody, you can find their contact information, their phone number, their email. I've used it for several years. It is a fantastic way to find the right prospects at the right time with additional insights. Super cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Josh. We're going to go over like a quick 15-minute demo for you. So go ahead, take it away, Josh.
Hey everybody, I'm Josh Garrison and this is your demo of Apollo. Now before I get into the product, I just want to talk to you very briefly about what Apollo can do for you. Apollo is an all-in-one sales solution. What I mean by that is it has everything that you need to either hit your quota as a salesperson or to grow your company as a business owner. Now, what most people use Apollo for is something called outbound sales. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, I'm going to walk you through it really quickly. This is you. You have a quota to hit because you're in sales, or you have a business that you own and you really want to grow it. In order to do that, you need to find people who could reasonably buy your product or service. We call that your ideal customer profile. Now, Apollo is the world's largest database of business professionals with over 265 million people's contact information in it. So what we can do is help you find those ideal customers, exactly who you want to reach out to. And then we give you a suite of tools to reach out to them, including emails and phone calls and messages on LinkedIn, among other things. So that's the gist of what Apollo does for you. But at the end, it helps you build relationships with your ideal customer, and those relationships can turn into revenue. So now, with that all being said, let's dive into Apollo, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Okay, so this is Apollo, and as you can see, there's a lot of different stuff I can do and a lot of buttons I can click on, but I'm going to start by showing you our search function. Now, this is where you can actually look through the database of over 270 million people we have to find your perfect leads. And you can see here this number, 270.8 million contacts or people you can search through. And if I click on companies, I can see over 64 million different companies I could look up and search through. Now, that's a lot of people. That's too many people. So what we need to do is narrow this list down to find those perfect leads for us. And in order to do that, we're going to use Apollo's filters. And that's what's over here on the left-hand side. Apollo has more than 65 filters you can use to find the perfect people. And I'm going to go ahead and click this button at the bottom left that says More Filters, which will help us narrow down on exactly who we want to talk to. Now, I'm going to build a list using an example. Let's say I want to reach out to VPs of marketing at small software companies. In order to do that, I can click on one of our filters, which is job title, and I can just type in VP of marketing. And you can see immediately I went from having over 260 million records to just about 99,770 records. So that's still way too many people. I want to narrow that down further. So I'm going to apply an additional filter, and I'll keep scrolling down. I mentioned I want to reach out to people at software companies, so I can look through the industry and keywords list that we have and choose computer software. Now I'm down from 99,000 to 3,225. We're getting somewhere. But let's say for this example, I'm selling a service that is really only applicable to small businesses. So I'm going to want to search by the size of company that the people work at. And in order to do that, I can click on number of employees. So now let's say I can go for maybe anything up to a 50-person company, and I can hit apply filters. So what I've just done in a few seconds is build a list of VPs of marketing at software companies who have between 1 and 50 employees. And as you can see, Apollo is returning all of these results. But let's say I wanted to get even more targeted. I can do that and just come right back into my filters and add even more criteria into my list, including something called buying intent. Now, buying intent is really powerful. What this is basically an aggregation of all of the searches a company is doing on the internet, all of the things that they're looking up and looking for. And as you can see, we have a ton of different topics to choose from. And if I include one of these topics in my search, basically this will narrow my list down to people who are actively looking for that thing. So if I'm selling graphic design services, I could choose graphic design services. Or if I'm selling 3D modeling or something like that, I could add any number of buyer intent topics to my list and hit save, and it's going to return only people who we're pretty confident are looking for that thing already. I can add other things like whether or not their company is growing with headcount growth, whether they've recently received funding, how much revenue the company has, and even whether or not the company is hiring. So as you can see, Apollo is an incredibly powerful tool to help you find the perfect people to reach out to try and create a business relationship. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and save a list of people that I can then start the process of reaching out to. Now, if I was going to do this often, come in here and build a list of VPs of marketing, there's a couple things I could do to save myself time. One of them would be to create what's called a persona. So I can just make a VP of marketing persona. And it's going to allow me to pre-select some filters and some criteria and hit save. And then I don't have to come in and manually click and rebuild this list every time. So that's a useful, handy tip. Another thing that you can do before I reach out to these people is you can apply something called a signal. Now, we've built signals for you. You can find them here on the left-hand side. And basically a signal is something, some set of criteria that we've prepackaged. And I'll show you what I mean. Maybe office expansion would be a signal for you. Let's say you sell office furniture. Well, we've already configured a set of criteria here that says, hey, if they're expanding offices in the last 30 days, that would be a signal that you could apply to your list. So these are just some of the 65 filters that you can apply using Apollo. They're incredibly powerful. Now, the next step for me is going to be to select some of these people and actually save their contact information. So I'm going to go ahead and select 25 people, which is the default. If you want to select more than that, you can based on the plan of Apollo that you have. And I'm going to hit save. Now, at this moment, I want to talk about credits. Credits are like your Apollo currency. This is what you pay for when you use Apollo. And there are 3 different types of credits, and I'm going to walk you through those right now. Now, this is the Apollo pricing page, which you can find by going to the pricing section of our website or by scrolling down on the page you're on right now, and you can see exactly what's included in all of our plans. But basically, there are 3 different types of credits. There are email credits, mobile credits, and export credits. Now, an email credit is a credit that you use in the Apollo platform to find somebody's email address. And as you can see, they're generally unlimited. You can find as many people's emails within Apollo as you want. But if you were to then export your list and take that contact information from Apollo to another tool, you would use what's called an export credit. And generally, there are limits on the number of export credits that you can use. The third type of credit is called a mobile credit. And that is a credit that you'll use when trying to find somebody's mobile phone number. Now, we have a bunch of different plans that come with different levels of credits, and you can always add on more credits as you need from within the Apollo platform. If you have questions about this, I highly recommend you scroll down the page and click the button on the right that says Talk to Sales. We'll connect you with somebody who you can actually live chat with right now. But with that said, let's get back into Apollo, and I'm going to continue building my list. So here I am, and I have 25 of my VPs of marketing selected. What I'm going to do is go ahead and hit save. And here our old friend credits just popped up. Now I have different things that I can do once I want to save somebody's contact information. One thing I can do is add them to a list, which is exactly what it sounds like. It allows me to create a list that I can easily reference and find, and anybody whose contact information I'm able to get in terms of their email address, that will use 1 credit. Now I can also instruct Apollo to attempt to find a mobile phone number for everybody I add to that list, which I'm going to go ahead and do at this moment, and I'm going to hit save. Now, as you can see, Apollo is in the process of getting the contact information, both emails and mobile phone numbers where we can, for all of the 25 people I just added to that list. There are other things I could do with these folks as well. I could add them to a sequence, and if I had SalesLoft or Outreach connected to Apollo, I could just add them straight to either one of those tools. But what's going to happen in a second is you're going to see that this saved button is actually going to start populating with contact information. And what that means is, of the people I've added to my search using my filters, I have a total of 500. And 500 of them, when I started this process, were new to me. I hadn't saved their information. But once I went ahead and saved those 25, the 25 people got added to my list. And now I can use their contact information however I would like to try and start reaching out to them. And in order to do that, I'm going to use what's called a sequence. Now, a sequence is a series of phone calls, emails, LinkedIn connection requests, or messages, or any other task that I define that I'm going to use to reach out to people. It's a way to stay organized as you're going out and building relationships with your ideal customers. And Apollo has really powerful tools you can use to do that. So let's dive into that. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. All right, so here I have that list that I just built, and I've selected my 25 people whose email address and phone number we've grabbed. And I'm going to go ahead and click Add to New Sequence so I can show you guys what it looks like to build a sequence. Now, there's all different kinds of options here. You can have AI help you build the sequence out if you struggle with writer's block or just want a little bit of help. We have a bunch of different templates that you could choose from, or you can make one from scratch or clone one that you already have. I'm just going to make one from scratch so I can show you the whole process. And I'm going to call this VP of Marketing, which is what we named our list when we built that list of people at the start of this video. Now, I can change the permissions for who can use this and the schedule that it runs on and all sorts of things here. So Apollo is now going through the process of adding those people to a sequence, which can take just a second or two. So if I refresh the page, it should have all of those people in a sequence already. And here it is. So this is my VP of Marketing sequence, and you can see that I haven't activated it and it's blank. I have to fill this sequence out. Now, let's remember what a sequence is. It's a series of emails, phone calls, tasks, or LinkedIn touches that I define that I'm going to use to reach out to everybody I add to that sequence. So this is a way for you to be more successful with your outreach efforts. Almost nobody replies to just one email or one phone call. Follow-up is king, and you don't want to have to be keeping track of your follow-up efforts in a spreadsheet or somewhere else. Doing it all in Apollo and having Apollo keep track of it for you is incredibly powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Add Step. And a step is just which part of the sequence you're on. And you can see there's a bunch of different options I have here. I'm going to go ahead and start with an automatic email. So this is an email that will get sent automatically when I add someone to the sequence. And I can define when I want that to happen. I can say immediately after I've added them to the sequence, or to wait a little bit. I'll go ahead and say immediately and hit continue. Now, I get to write a template for myself here that I can have pre-populate in all of the emails that I send. So I'll go ahead and write one. It'll say, hey, this is Josh. Of course, you're going to do a much better job copywriting for yours. And what I can do is add a dynamic variable into my body copy so that not every email is exactly the same. And let me show you what I mean. Down here at the bottom, I can click this dynamic variable button, and I can pull into my email automatically information that we have in Apollo, like their first name or their last name or the company they work at, or any other information that we want to pull from a custom all the way through these advanced filters that we have. But most everybody will use first name. So I could write an email automatically that says, hey, first name, this is Josh. And if I wanted to choose someone to preview this for, I could choose this contact and it will say, hey, Pat, this is Josh. I don't have to actually manually customize every email. I can just have Apollo pull in information we have already using a dynamic variable. Now, if I'm not sure what to write in this email, I can click this little AI assistant button. And this AI assistant is going to help me personalize this email. I can just add some information into the AI. I can tell it a little bit about us and say, what I offer and the pain points I solve and the value prop. And I can hit generate, and AI will write the email for me. So I don't have to be a great copywriter to write good emails using Apollo. So let's say I'm done here. I've written this email. I go ahead and hit save. Now I need to add another step to my sequence because, again, just reaching out one time isn't going to cut it. So I'll hit add step, and let's say this time I want to add a phone call. Now, Apollo has a dialer built into the product, meaning you can make phone calls directly from the Apollo platform. And just like the email, I can decide how long after I've added someone to the sequence or how long after that first step completed do I want this phone call to become due. And I'd say 3 days, and then I will assign a priority to that call. Now, Apollo is going to keep track of all the tasks I have to do based on my sequences. So I could say it's a high priority or medium priority or low priority, and even add a description for myself. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And then if I wanted to continue building the sequence, I can do that. So I could hit add step, and now I'm in here and I can say, hey, 3 days after I call them, if they haven't replied, go ahead and send a LinkedIn connection request. And I can pre-populate the copy for the connection request and hit save. Now, this is an important note. If I add people to the sequence and I send them the first email and they respond, they will be automatically removed from the sequence. So you don't have to worry about continually contacting people who you've already heard back from. The same thing is true for the phone call or the connection request. When people get back to you, you will pull them out of the sequence automatically, or Apollo will pull them out of the sequence automatically. So that was me building a sequence. And the last step would be for me to turn that sequence on. And when I turn that sequence on, all of the people who I added to the sequence, when I added them, they were paused because the sequence was inactive. But as soon as I turn the sequence on, that first email is going to fire, and I'm already on my way to building relationships with my ideal buyers. Okay, so that is sequences. Now, I just want to cover a couple more things in Apollo before we wrap this up. One of them is meetings. Meetings is really powerful. This is a tool that lets you essentially give people a link to your calendar where they can book a meeting with you. So you don't have to go back and forth with them to try and find a time that works for everybody. It's really cool. It's included in Apollo. You don't need to buy a second tool for it. And the second thing I want to show you is analytics. As you get better and better and do more and more outbound sales, you're going to want to keep track of what's working and what isn't working. And Apollo helps you do that using analytics. And we actually have some pre-built reports and dashboards that you can come and look at and see, for example, how your emails are performing or how your phone calls are performing. The last thing that I'd show you is a testing mechanism you can use called A/B testing. So if I was going to add a bunch of people to my VP of marketing sequence, I wouldn't just want to have one email that I send to everyone. I would want to test different versions of that email to see which ones perform better. And that's called an A/B test. And Apollo will allow you to add A, B, C, D, however many variations of a test you want to in a sequence. Now, those are a little bit more advanced features, but I hope you can see exactly how powerful Apollo is and how easy it makes it to find the perfect people you want to get in touch with and actually start reaching out to them.
So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much, Josh. So you saw the power of Apollo and how amazing it can be for you, for your sales team, for your organization. And what we want you to do is go ahead and try it. So it is free for life. If you want, go ahead and click the link below. Go ahead and sign in for free. You get, unlimited email credits, and you get to kind of check out and try kind of a limited portion of how the platform itself works and how you can use it to empower yourself as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson, as a leader. And then you also, if you want to, can schedule a demo as well. We're looking forward to having you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for spending your precious time to learn a little bit more about another tool that's going to advance you and the way that you're going to be able to grow your business. Once again, I am Dante with Opus. Everybody have a great day.